Hello viewers. Hello viewers. Welcome to another session of All4 e-learning program. Right? I am DNR, physics lecturer. This is session number 2. Now in this session, we will talk about the vectors and various types of vectors. So our chapter is vector. Our topic is vectors. In the previous session, I have just started with vectors. You know why I started with vectors? You know, physics deals with derivations, calculations, manipulations, combinations, all this. We all perform all this by some various mathematical tools like algebra, geometry, and trigonometry, so on and so forth. But you have studied these things in your earlier classes. There is another important mathematical tool by which the study of physics concepts become easy. Now, that is vector algebra. Now this is new to you, so I wanted to make you get acquainted with this in detail. So we have started with chapter vectors, right? So let us come to the topic. So I was telling you physics is subject of measurement, right? All those physics aspects around us which can be defined and which can be measured are called physical quantities, right? And physical quantities based on their orientation are classified into two, right? So they are classified into two as scalars and vectors. So I was spelling out regarding the scalars. Scalars are physical quantities which possess significant magnitude and insignificant direction. The physical quantities which possess magnitude, which is of importance, they do not possess direction. Even if they possess direction, the direction is of no importance, no significance. Right? Such quantities are called scalar quantities. They are represented by a small letter. Let us say distance of a body x, or speed of a body small s. Now they are always represented by a mere number and associated by a small unit, a unit associated to it. They have got no direction, so they are just simply represented like this. They are even sometimes mere numbers with no units also. I was telling you about these things. Scalars, they are physical quantities which possess only magnitude and they have got no direction. Even if they possess direction, direction is of no significance. It has got no importance even. There are some quantities which possess direction also, right? Like electric current, it has got direction, velocity of light, direction, pressure, surface tension, but their direction is just for convention, that's all. So therefore, they are expressed in this form, scalars. So I was telling you about some examples regarding scalars, right? Distance, speed, right? Therefore, temperature, etc., etc. Right? Regarding the examples of scalars, in physics, many of the physical quantities are scalars. Like for example, all fundamental quantities are scalars. Mass, length, time, luminous intensity, electric current, amount of the substance, right? These fundamental quantities. Then most of the quantities which you come across in heat chapter, thermal quantities, most of the quantities are scalars, with some few exceptions. And those physical quantities which you come across in wave properties, in wave chapter, wave properties are also, many of the quantities are scalars with some one or two exceptions. And the quantities which you come across in modern physics or quantum physics, even there also many quantities are scalar quantities there, right? Now with some exceptions they do exist. So therefore scalars. Now most of the physical constants are also scalars, like gravitational constant, universal gas constant, Planck's constant. The value is fixed. They are all scalar quantities. So therefore, many of the quantities in physics are scalar quantities with some exceptions like that. Okay. So scalars are represented by mere number and a unit is associated to it, right? Now we combine scalars, we manipulate scalars by ordinary algebraic rules. Like We add scalar to a scalar, subtract scalar to a scalar, we multiply, we divide scalar. So all these are valid operations, and we use simple algebraic rules to perform such operations for scalars. When you combine scalars, we get scalars, right? So this is regarding the thing. Now coming to vectors, you know why we have started with this chapter vectors? Because when physics laws are associated, physics laws are combined or expressed in terms of in terms of vector form, then they become very easy. They become very, very compact and very simple even. So when physics laws are associated with vectors, the derivation of laws of physics become highly simplified by using the vector rules. So when you associate physics laws with vector form, when you express laws of physics by vector form, it becomes very simple to understand the concepts of physics. So you will be knowing in future how vectors make the concept of physics very easy, right? How the vectors make it easy. So let us go in detail with regarding vectors. So I was telling you vectors. Vectors are physical quantities which possess magnitude and significant direction. Their direction is of great importance, right? Vectors have got magnitude and direction, right? Direction, which the magnitude depends upon direction. They have got different magnitude in different direction. As direction changes, their magnitude differs, right? So therefore vector quantities, they are represented by a letter like this with a bar over it. They possess a magnitude associated with a unit and a direction of orientation. There is direction associated to it. There is even direction specified. A force of 10 newtons act on a body along east direction. Now this is the way we express the vectors there. Okay, the way we express vectors. Now I was telling you yesterday, how do you represent vectors? We represent vectors by three methods. There are three ways of representing vectors. One is picture form, pictorial representation of vectors. Picture, that is graphical method. Second, there is another method, mathematical method of representation, and the third one is polar coordinate method. There is another form called polar coordinate method by which we express the vectors there, is it? So vectors are represented by these three forms, okay, right? Now coming to the combination of vectors, when you talk about certain properties of vectors. Suppose if I consider a vector A bar, Now, the magnitude of the vector, this vector, the magnitude, value of the vector is represented by mod A bar, right? The magnitude, it is the absolute value of the vector. It is the absolute value of the vector which gives you the magnitude, right? It is represented as mod A bar, and it is called as modulus of the vector. Modulus of the vector, and modulus of a vector is a positive quantity. It is a scalar. It's a value, just simple value. It's a scalar, right? And it is always positive. It cannot be negative. It is always positive. And this vector is always associated with direction. Now, how do you represent the direction? The direction of the vector can be represented as, right? Now, in our daily life, we have convented certain directions around us to specify, to show the direction. Like we consider east, west, north, south, up and down like this. These are the conventions in our social life, right? So these conventions are taken into consideration. Based on that, now they are expressed in mathematics. With mathematics, we express the direction of vectors considering these directions, okay? Now, how? For example, like consider a coordinate system. This is positive x-axis and this is negative x-axis. This is positive y-axis and this is negative y-axis. Positive x-axis is considered to be towards east direction. Negative x-axis is towards west. positive y towards north, negative y is towards south. Suppose if there is a vector, let us say velocity of a body is some 10 meters per second towards east. Velocity of a body is 10 meters per second towards east. Then I represent this velocity vector in the form of a line segment. A vector is represented in the form of a line segment. So I represent this velocity vector v bar 10 meter per second towards east, right? Then I shall represent the form of a line segment. It doesn't mean that I draw a line of length 10 centimeters. What I do is, in our earlier classes you have taken, while drawing a graph, you were taking a scale. So in this graph, every unit what you consider has, every unit what you take in this graph has some specified scale. So we draw a scale in this. Every unit in this graph is equivalent to, let us say every unit is equal to some 2 meters per second. So every unit on this graph, on this scale, on this graph there, I mean one unit is 2 meters per second. So I have to express 10 meters. So 1 unit is 2. So such 5 units. 5 such units I take, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I represent the vector like this. So this is v bar towards east. It is of length 5 units. Each unit is 2. So 5 into 2, it is 10 meters per second. Suppose there is a vector force F is equal to something like 250 newtons towards north. 250 newtons towards north. I don't draw a line of 250 centimeters. So I take a convention. I take a scale. So according to this scale here, I represent force. Right? According to the scale, 1 centimeter of this graph, whatever I have considered, 1 unit of this graph, 1 unit, let me consider it as something like 50 newtons. Right? So 250 newtons in the sense 5 units towards north. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I draw a line segment like this. So length of the line segment corresponds to the magnitude of the vector, and the direction, the arrowhead represents the direction along which it is directed, right? North. Now, okay, east, west, north, south, these directions are known. Now, how about the directions in between? Suppose there is a vector represented like this. A vector represented in this form, making an angle 30 degrees this way. Then how do you express the direction of this vector? Now, when there is a vector in this direction making an angle 30 degrees to the positive x-axis. So I have convented positive x-axis towards east and this positive y-axis towards north. Then this east direction, there are 2 quadrants to the east direction. One is this quadrant, other one is that quadrant. So this is the south side of east, and that quadrant belongs to north side of east. So this quadrant is north side of east. So whatever direction here, it is north of east. So this vector is directed along 30 degrees north side of east. Right? Suppose a vector is represented in this form. Then to the east direction, the quadrant above is towards north side. So any direction represented in this quadrant, they are towards north of east. So this vector is directed 30 degrees north of east. Suppose similarly there is another vector something like this at an angle some 53 degrees to east. Now how about this, right? Then now this direction lies in this quadrant which is of the south side of east. So it is in the south side of east direction. So all directions represented in this quadrant, they are south of east. So I name this as the direction of this vector b bar. Let us say it is b bar. So that the direction of vector b bar is 53 degrees south of east. To the east direction, it is of south side. So south of east 53 degrees. And you know, same thing can be expressed in the other form also. Look, this is east and north. We know the angle between these both is 90. If this is 30 degrees, then the remaining angle is 90 minus 30. This is 60 degrees. 60 degrees. Now I can express the same direction of vector A bar. Earlier we have defined the direction of vector A bar. Direction of A bar, right? A bar is along the direction. A bar is along the direction. So I was expressing this is east direction. Then the A bar, vector A bar is on the north side of east, north of east. So it is 30 degrees north of east. So A bar is along the direction 30 degrees north of east. This is the way I express the direction of a vector. Similarly, B bar. So B bar is along the direction of B bar. Now B bar is in this quadrant. You know, this quadrant is south side of east. So it is 53 degrees south of, it is south side of east. So the direction B bar is along the direction, which is represented as 53 degrees south of east. The direction of B bar is 53 degrees south of east. Now coming to another form of representation. You see, this vector A bar is making 30 degrees with east, but the same vector makes an angle 60 degrees with north. It is making an angle 60 degrees north. So this angle, this direction can also be represented at, you see, to the north direction, north, this side of north is all east side. This is east of north. It is east side of north. And this side, this quadrant comes to west side of north. So this quadrant is to west of north, and this quadrant is to east of north. So therefore, I shall express the direction of A bar. A bar is along the other form. It is along 60 degrees. It is east side of north. So it is 60 degrees east of north. Similarly, B bar also. Look, this is east, this is south. The angle between them is 90 degrees, of which this is 53. The remaining angle is 90 minus 53, that is 37 degrees. Now the direction of B bar can be even expressed as, you see, this vector is in this quadrant. It is onto right side of south, that is east of south. To this south direction, this side is east of south and this side is west of south, right? So our vector B bar is towards east side. So it is 37 degrees east of south. So B bar is along 53 south of east or 37 east of south. So this way we express the direction of various vectors. In whatever direction it exists, you can express this by the you can express the direction of the vector by this convention, right, given to you. Any vector, you can consider a vector like this. Suppose there is a vector of this form. It is of this form, making an angle 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Let us say vector C bar, 45 degrees, like this. Then, so I have taken the convention, this is east direction, this is west direction, this is north direction, and this is south direction. So in my two-dimensional plane, in this two-dimensional plane, I have taken the directions like this. Now this vector C bar is making an angle 45 degrees with west, but the total angle is 90 degrees, of which this is 45. So the remaining is also 45 degrees. Remaining is also 45. So C bar is making equal angles with either west or north, right? It is equivalent, it is equally inclined to both west and north direction. So this direction is expressed as northwest direction. Actually it is 45 degrees north side of west or 45 degrees west side of north. To the north direction it is west side. So 45 degrees west side of north or 45 degrees north side of west. To west, the above side is north side, this is south side. So it is 45 degrees north side of west. Well, angle is same. North of west or west of north, both same. So it can be simply represented as northwest direction. Similarly, a direction equally inclined to both north and east, this is northeast direction. So you need not specify the angle as 45. It is understood it is northeast. The value of the angle need not be specified there, okay? Similarly, any direction equally inclined to east and south, this is southeast direction, and the other one is southwest direction. So this way you represent the direction of vector in our plane, in our horizontal plane over earth there, we express the direction in this form. But if I have to express the direction in three-dimensional plane, then this is done by another method. There is another method we will be studying in our future thing. So this way we express the direction of the vector quantity, vector. Okay, now suppose where I consider some basic properties of vector. Basic properties of vector. First one. So when I consider a vector, what does a vector imply? When I consider a vector, suppose consider a vector A bar. A vector A bar, let us say it is 10, the units is newtons, and the direction is expressed as something like southeast direction. Suppose there is a vector like this. If I represent the vector in our horizontal plane, in the horizontal plane above the surface of the earth, then this is east, this is west, north, south. So vector A bar is of 10 newtons value. This is the magnitude value, the unit associated to it and its direction. Vector always possess the magnitude, a unit and its direction, right? So when I represent, it is 10 newtons. Well, according to my scale, let's say each unit of this graph is some 5 newtons. I draw a 2 centimeter, 2 unit line like this. Southeast, south and east, it is equally inclined like this, southeast, equally inclined to southeast, and the magnitude, this is vector A bar. It is of 2 units. Each unit is 5, so it's 2 units like this. This way I represent. This is the way I represent the vector. Now when I come to the properties there, whenever you consider a vector, the magnitude of the vector, value of the vector, it is the absolute value of the vector. The magnitude of the vector is the absolute value of the vector. Absolute value is magnitude, and it is represented as mod A bar. It's called as modulus of vector, modulus of the vector A bar, modulus of vector A bar is. It is the absolute value, fixed value, and this is always a scalar. It has no direction. It's just a mere number with associated with the unit, and it is always positive. This cannot be negative. Modulus of a vector cannot be negative, right? It is a scalar. The absolute value, it is the absolute value, fixed value. There is no change in its magnitude in that particular direction. First point. Now suppose the vector, first property, first character of the vector there. Now suppose there is a vector A bar. Now vector A bar, if this vector is displaced parallel to itself in any direction. Now what am I doing is, I am displacing this vector in this direction like this, from here to here. It is displaced parallel to itself like this way. Then there is no change in its there is no change in its length, and there is no change in its direction. So there is no change in the vector. Whenever a vector is displaced parallel to itself, then the vector remains invariant. There is no change in the vector there, right? So parallel, suppose if I shift this vector like this from this side to, let us say I am shifting it from here to here like this. So this point is shifted to here and this point is shifted to here. So the length remains same and the direction also remains same. So whenever a vector is shifted parallelly, either like this or this way, whichever way you can shift, then its magnitude remains same, its direction remains same. The vector remains invariant. There is no change whenever the vector is shifted like this. But suppose if the same vector A bar like this, if it is rotated, turned through about its initial point, a vector is rotated, turned through it, tilted about its initial point, now the vector changes, because you see the direction of the vector has changed. Of course the length remains same, but the direction has changed. So you cannot turn a vector rotate a vector through an angle. When you rotate a vector through an angle, there is change in direction. The vector gets changed by its orientation. So rotation of the vector is not possible without changing the vector. So whenever you rotate a vector, there is change taking place. But if you displace a vector parallelly, there is no change. It is invariant. When you rotate a vector, there is change. Now, suppose there is a vector a bar. Now I am rotating this vector by an angle 2 pi or integral multiple of 2 pi. I am rotating through an angle 2 pi into n, through an angle 2 pi times n times the angle 2 pi radian, or I am rotating 360 degrees, n times of 360 degrees. Then, so 2 pi, you know, this is pi and this is another pi, the vector remains same. You make any number of rotations, so n integer. If I make one rotation, n is 1, the vector remains same. If I make two rotations, twice I rotate, it remains same. So rotation of the vector, if you rotate a vector through an angle theta, which is the integral multiple of 2 pi. If you rotate a vector through an angle theta, which is integral, this is integer n, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, integral multiple of 2 pi radian, then there is no change in vector. There is no variation in the vector. Vector remains invariant. But if you rotate the vector by an angle either less or other than this value, if you rotate, then there is variation. Right? You can rotate the vector by an angle any number of times, rotate it any number of times such that the angle is integral multiple of 2 pi, then there is no variation in the vector. It remains invariant. But for any other angle, it changes. Right? Okay. Second point. Then, how do you consider the angle between the vectors? Suppose if there are two vectors like this, there is a vector a bar and there is another vector b bar, right? A bar and b bar represent like this. What is the angle between these two? The direction, the difference in direction between these two. How do you consider that angle between these two? To measure the angle between these two, then what you do is either of this vector must be shifted parallel to it. Like let me shift this vector a bar parallel to itself such that their initial points coincide. Right? Shift the vector a bar to b bar parallelly to b bar like this. Shift the vector a bar to b bar parallel to itself such that their initial points coincide. Then when you arrange the vectors in this manner, then the smallest angle between these two. Now there exist two angles. One is the bigger angle, other is smaller angle. The smaller angle between these two, this is termed as the angle between the vectors. For example, suppose if he gives you a vector like this, he says there is one vector and there is another vector, this is 120 degrees. No, 120 degrees is not the angle between the vectors, right? So to find the angle between the vectors, what you have to do is arrange the vectors such that their initial points coincide. Now how? Displacing them. I said just now, whenever you shift a vector parallel to itself, there is no variation. The vector remains as it is by magnitude and direction. So either you shift A to B, or you can even do shift B to A parallel to it. So this is the vector shifted parallelly to it like this way. So the vector B bar is shifted from here to here. So B shifted from here to this way, such that their initial points coincide. Now the smaller angle between these two, there is another angle also. You should not take the bigger angle, take the smaller angle between these two. The smaller angle between the vectors give you the angle between the vectors or the difference in direction of the vectors. You know, I've expressed you, the vector can be expressed in another form called polar coordinate form, polar. So I said any vector a bar can be represented by a straight line making an angle theta to the reference line. Reference line can be anything, right? So this is vector a bar. Let its magnitude be some small a. I can write vector a bar as small a angle theta. This is the way of expression. So the angle made by the vector A with the reference line is theta. Now similarly, angle made by a vector, let A bar make an angle theta 1, B bar make an angle theta 2. The angle between these two, right? So you have to find the angle between these two by this method. Shift the vector parallel to itself such that their initial points coincide, right? Initial point coincide. You know, actually, if there are two vectors such that their initial points are coinciding with one another, they are called co-initial vectors. They are called co-initial vectors. Vectors which emerge from the same point, they originate from the same point, their starting point is same, their initial point is same, then they are called co-initial vectors. To measure the angle between two vectors, first you should make the vectors such that they are co-initial to one another. Then take the smallest angle between these both. Then that angle is the angle of vectors. Similarly, if there are two vectors whose arrowheads are meeting to a point, right? You know, for this vector, this is the initial point, this is the final point, terminal point, arrowhead, final point. So even to this vector, this is terminal point. Now they are terminating at that, they are ending up at the point there. Co-terminal vectors. The vectors whose terminal points meet at coincide with one another, they are called co-terminal vectors. Even now the angle between these two gives the angle. Well, you have to, if you shift this vector to this side and shift this vector to this side parallelly, then this angle, of course these both are vertically opposite angles, magnitude wise, vertically opposite angles. So if the terminal points end up at the same point, then they are called co-terminal vectors. If they start from the same point, then they are called co-initial vectors. To measure the angle between the vectors, you should you should arrange them such that they start from the same point, called co-initial vectors, right? You should either arrange them in such a manner such that their terminal points coincide, then they are called co-terminal vectors. Even then also you can measure the angle like this. Okay, so the angle between the vectors, let me take some examples regarding this. For example, in our general notation of x and y, xy plane, two-dimensional plane, let's suppose there is a vector A bar like this, making an angle 30 degrees. And there is another vector B bar like this, which is along x-axis this way. Now he is asking to find what is the angle between A bar and B bar. Angle between A bar and B bar. So what did I say? To find the angle between the vectors, you should arrange the vectors such that they start from the same point. They originate from the same point. Their initial point is same. They must be co-initial vectors. So now, A bar is starting at the origin, there it is extending like this, its terminal point is here, initial point here. But B bar is having the terminal point here. Now, move the vector B bar parallel to it like this in this direction. So when the vector B bar is shifted parallel to it like this way, right? Now A bar and B bar are co-initial vectors. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and it is 90 degrees. Well, vector A bar is making angle 30 degrees with y-axis. The total angle now with this is, it's 90 plus 30. So the total angle is 120 degrees. This way. So this way you have to find the angle between the vectors. There was a question asked like this. There were two vectors of this form, right? This is A bar and this is B bar. A bar is making 30 degrees with this and B bar is making also 30 degrees with this coordinate. Now he is asking to find the angle between the two vectors A bar and B bar, right? Now, so now they are co-initial, but you know the angle is given, and the angle of vector A bar is given with positive x-axis 30 and this is with positive y-axis 30. The angle between x and y is 90. Now the total angle becomes 30 plus 90 plus 30. It is 150 degrees. This is another way of asking the question there, right? Let us take another example. Let's take another example. Suppose x and y axis, there is a vector A bar like this and a vector B bar like this. This is making angle 30 degrees. Even this is also making angle 30 degrees B bar, and this is A bar. Now what is the angle between the vectors? Angle between the vectors like this. Now, so what you do is, you have to find the angle between the vectors, you have to arrange them such that they originate from the same point. Make them as co-initial vectors. So to make the vectors co-initial, you shift to vector B bar parallel to itself. This way. If this is 30, this is also 30 degrees, vertically opposite angle. Now the total angle is 60 degrees. A bar and B bar are at an angle of 60 degrees. Same question. Sometimes he will give you the same question in word form like this. For example, a vector A bar is along the direction, 37 degrees north of east. Another vector B bar is along the direction 53 degrees south of east. Then find the angle between the vectors A bar and B bar. Now, earlier he had given you the diagram. In the diagram we had to make some small arrangements, so small shifting, then we got the angle. Now he has not given the direction. He has expressed it in word form. Now from this he is asking you to measure the angle between the vectors. Now to do so. So first of all, let us represent the vectors in the diagram. First, A bar is a vector along 37 degrees north of east. You see, I was telling you, north of east, this is east direction. To the east direction, the part quadrant above it, which is nearer to north, the part of the quadrant which is above east, which is towards north, this is all north of east quadrant. And the part of the quadrant which is south side of east, this is south of east. Now here the vector A bar is north of east. So the vector A bar is in the plane which is north side of east, making angle 37 degrees with east. So 37 degrees with east. So vector A bar is making 37 degrees north side of east. So to the east direction, it is making 37 degrees north side. So this is the vector A bar. Now coming to vector B bar. Vector B bar is along 53 degrees south of east. So to the east direction it is south side. To the east it is south of east. South of east comes into this quadrant, right? So it is 53 degrees south of east. So this is the vector B bar. It is the vector B bar is along, angle is 53 degrees south side of east. So the angle is 53 degrees south side. Below this quadrant belongs to south side of east. So it is 53 degrees south side of east. And this one is 37 degrees north side of east. So the above quadrant is north side of east. So it is 37 degrees north side of east. A bar is along 37 degrees north side of east. B bar is along 53 degrees south side of east. Now the angle between the vectors. Now I have arranged the vectors such that they are originating from the same point. They are starting from the origin. Now they are like co-initial vectors. Take the smallest angle between the vectors. The smallest angle between the vectors is this. So the total angle is 37 plus 53. It is 90 degrees. A bar and B bar are mutually perpendicular vectors, right? He, instead of not just the angle, he may ask in another thing. So in the process of finding another thing, this is one of the way to find the angle between the vectors. He may be asking you to find the resultant, where you need to find the angle between the vectors. He expresses the vectors in this form. So first put them on the diagram, represent them, picturize them, then represent them in picture form, pictorial representation, then find their angles, the angle between them. So A and B are mutually perpendicular vector. There was another beautiful question asked in one of the entrance examination like this. Three vectors represented in the form of three sides of an equilateral triangle like this. three vectors are represented as three sides of equilateral triangle, right? The vectors are A bar, B bar and C bar. A bar, B bar, C bar. Now he is asking to find the angle between vectors A bar, B bar, angle between AB, angle between BC, angle between CA. Now look, so A bar vector is the initial point of A bar is here, B and terminal point is here. Now the terminal point of A is coinciding with the initial point of B. We know angle, in a equilateral triangle the angles are equal, that is 60 degrees each. All the angles are 60. There will be one of the option called 60, but the answer is not 60 degrees. So please look at it. The condition to find the angle between the vectors is that they must originate from the same point. But here A and B are not originating. A is terminating here, B is originating at that point. This point is the terminal point of vector A and it is the initial point of vector B. You cannot find the angle like that. So what you do is shift A parallel to itself. So when I shift A bar parallel to itself like this, A bar. Now this is, instead of A bar here, I have taken this A bar in here. Now A and B are such that they are starting from the same point. Co-initial vectors. Right? Now the angle. Actually this is 60 degrees. We know in a triangle 60. But we want this angle. But this total angle is 180 degrees. Out of this 180, this is 60. So the remaining is 120 degrees. In the earlier problems, I was giving you some value of angle, right? In one of the problem, I have given you the diagram itself representing the magnitude and direction. In the next problem, I have given you in word form given the angles. But in this problem, there are no angles, nothing. He just said it is given in word form. A bar, B bar, C bar are three vectors represented as three sides of a triangle, right? Three sides of a triangle, equilateral triangle, one touching the other, right? Taken in an order. A bar, B bar, C bar are three vectors represented as three sides of a triangle, three sides of an equilateral triangle. All taken in order, Then what is the angle to them? He has just expressed the question in the form of a sentence. The question is in word form. From word form, first picturize the diagram, picturize the thing, convert the word form into picture form. Now actually the diagram, the problem reads like this. When I draw the diagram, the picture is like this. He is asking to find the angle between A bar, B bar, C bar. This is A bar, B bar and C bar. But it appears to be very simple. It's an equilateral triangle. Angle is 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees. It seems to be the angle is 60. But it is not correct. You have to apply the conditions for the finding the angle between the vectors. To find the angle between the vectors, you should have the vectors originating from same point. They must be co-initial. So slide vector A bar this side. So it becomes 120. When I slide parallel, now these two vectors are co-initial, right? Now the smaller angle between these two. You know there is even another angle this from A to B. You should not take the bigger angle, take the smaller angle. Right? This is 120 because from here to here it is 180, of which this is 60. Subtracting 60 I get 120. Similarly between B and C also, slide this B vector parallel to itself. So forget B here. So B is here. Now B and C are co-initial. So this is the angle. Well, again this is 180 degrees, of which it is 160. This is 120. Similarly, to find vector C bar, this is A bar. Slide C bar to parallel to itself like this. Now forget C here. Again this is 60. Total is 120, 180, of which this is 120 degrees. So the angle between the vectors is 120, 120 and 120 like this. So this way we find the angle between the vectors. Okay. So in this session we have discussed about scalar, exclusively scalar. What is a scalar? Magnitude. What are the basic properties? Every scalar has same magnitude in all directions. Its direction does not change with magnitude. Right? Every scalar is represented by a mere simple small letter. It has mere number with small associated with a unit. It has got no direction, no representation of direction. All scalars are combined, added, manipulated by simple rules of algebra. Right? Scalars we all know how to manipulate the scalars, combine scalars. But coming to vectors, they have magnitude and direction associated to it, which is of great significance, great importance, right? So considering the direction also taking the direction also into consideration, we have to represent the vector. There are three ways of representing the vector: picture form, right, mathematical form, and polar form, right? So I have represented. Then how to take the direction of the vector, how to represent the direction of the vector, what is the magnitude of the vector. Magnitude of the vector is called the modulus, the absolute value of the vector, modulus of the vector. And direction is represented by taking the xy two-dimensional plane, I represent the vector, and how to find the angle between the vectors, right? So please have a glance over this. Then